I've been seeing a lot of videos and lists of the best metal albums of 2024 and whatnot, and there were a lot of albums I liked too that came out this past year, but I decided to mix it up a little and share my favorite albums I listened to instead, regardless of release date. Essentially, this is just going to be some albums I like. I listened to a ton of albums this past year, so I'll definitely be leaving out a lot of my favorites. And I'm going off the stats for Spotify website. Yes, I begrudgingly use Spotify. You're not going to see me carrying around a Walkman at the gym. And no, this list isn't just going to be 80% black metal. I did actually listen to Paradise Lost for the first time this past year, and loved Gothic from the first moment. I haven't listened to any other Paradise Lost. I do this a lot where I listen to albums I enjoy over and over and over, typically the first or second album from an artist, and then just move on. Like, I heard Draconian Times is one of their best albums, so I listened to the first song for like 2 minutes and went right back to Gothic. I don't know, man. There's so much fucking music out there to listen to. I just kind of take my time and enjoy what I enjoy. I love the vocals on this album, as well as how diverse all the songs are. There's more intense moments and periods of relief and contrasting demonic and angelic vocals. Really, a lot for everyone. This one is kind of a legacy pick. All Reliable, Epicus Numicus Metallicus by Candlemass. This album's been a staple for years now. At this point, it's just comfort food, essentially. But that doesn't take away from how fucking good it is. Some of the greatest doom riffs ever. Incredible mixing. I absolutely love how big the rhythm section is. The original singer, no matter how depressed he must have been after getting replaced by a literal fucking Brynhild or operatic maestro, has some epic moments that I definitely don't attempt to recreate on a daily basis in my car or in the shower. I actually started listening to Candlemass via Nightfall, and I love that album too, but nothing beats the debut in my opinion. Another album I listened to for the first time this past year, Sacramentum's The Coming of Chaos, sucked me in from the first time I heard the beginning of Dream Death. I previously experienced Sacramentum in my usual way, listening and loving their first album, only to move on from there, probably to listen to Candlemass some more. I really love both albums, but The Coming of Chaos is more fresh on my mind. really like Nicholas Rudolphson's Rune Magic. He was the drummer in Sacramentum, but the guitarist and vocalist for Rune Magic. It's almost like Doomier Sacramentum. Also, Andy LaRoque produces this album. Always a positive. It's definitely more death metal than their debut, with songs like Burning Lust and Portal of Blood sounding not nearly as majestic or ethereal, but instead more intense and sometimes thrashy kind of. This album has been on repeat since I found it a couple years ago, being instantly drawn into the album art. The first track is one of those easing in tracks, not quite starting out guns blazing, but Battle Spells gets into some pretty fucking dark, intense. Essentially, it's just some damn good classic symphonic black metal. With some great spanning riffs and epic choirs. There's also a lot of brass, which, as a former tuba player myself, hell yeah. The sound is like earthy but still sharp, almost like a blood and dirt ridden iron breastplate. Another album that's basically always on repeat for me, the rest of this video is just going to be the same, is Infidel Art from Japanese black metal band Psy. Psy is one of my favorites, and Infidel Art is probably my favorite album of theirs. There's a ton of weird and interesting instruments utilized, as well as some unpredictable change ups that make a first listen pretty insane. My favorite is probably the Zombie Terror. The Last Elegy is pretty epic as well. Also, this album puts Jethro Tull to shame for the amount of flute solos, some of which almost bring a tear to my eye. Probably because just how out of nowhere they appear and how fucking majestic they are. Being one of the more prevalent black metal acts, Immortal has garnered a lot of attention, be it good or bad. Regardless, I do think their first 5 albums are a lot better than most give them credit for, especially Battles in the North and Pure Holocaust. Anything after the heart at the Heart of Winter is debatable. Anything after Sons of Northern Darkness doesn't exist. I think that if Abbott or Demon As had some racist or Nazi quotes. Those two albums, Battles in the North and Pure Holocaust, would be regarded as some of the truest of all time. Instead, we hear about how it's shit because Abbott did some goofy shit or because the Call of the Winter Moon video or whatever. Either way, Battles in the North is a damn good album with maybe some straightforward songwriting, but Demon As has a ton of epic riffs, and Abbott has some crazy out of control drumming. I don't know, I just love how ridiculous the amount of double bass on this album, as well as Pure Holocaust is. My favorites are Thrown by Black Storms, Cursed Realm of the Winter Demons, and Descent into Eminent Silence. But of course, the classic Blaster Mighty Raven Dark is kind of like the early 90s black metal version of a rousing pub anthem or something. Does that make sense? Another album I didn't hear for the first time this past year is The Sad Realm of the Stars by Odium. Kind of like that War Moon Lord album. The album art drew me in initially, and the songs pretty much sound just like the art. The mix is really unique. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's very satisfying to me. There's a ton of synth and keyboard shit that really brings out the dark, astral atmosphere, and a ton of double bass, something I kind of can never get enough of. I really like the speed of this album too. It's pretty blistering, but comes to satisfying halts at just the right times, only to explode back into some blast beats. Fitting with the name, there are some truly mournful yowls and screeches that make you wonder what is so sad about these fucking stars. I also really like the demo of this album. Some favorites are the title track, Towards the Forest Horizon, and Riding the Star Winds. Next on the list of some black metal albums I just wanted an excuse to talk about is The Dread March of Solemn Gods by Ninkarsag. Ever notice how many albums are something of something? Anyways, I love their debut album, Blood of Celestial Kings. So was really excited for this album and wasn't disappointed. in a vein of dissection. It's a super melodic and icy, but Ninkar Saga has a cool sound to them that almost feels theatrical, but like the stage is on top of a mountain or something. It sounds very real, for lack of a better word. The melodic riffs and leads are really, really good. Some incredible harmonies and interesting, actually audible bass lines underneath. The drums are top notch, and there's a ton of 3/4 blast beats, like and the vocals are surprisingly really catchy. The songwriting is really fucking good too. There's a lot of build-ups into satisfying breakdown riffs or interesting callbacks to earlier parts. Favorites are Lunar Hex, The Art of Mighty Lycanthropy, Tower of Perpetual Twilight, and Discipline through Black Sorcery. The next album I actually first heard yesterday. It's called Spud Expired Breath. I go back and forth between Bloodfire Death and Under the Sign of the Black Mark as my favorite from Bathory, as if I really had to choose, but this album was on repeat so much this past year. What can I really say about it? It's legendary. Some of the greatest riffs and songwriting of all time, some of the most iconic vocals in extreme metal ever. It really has stood the test of time. It could really just end after A Fine Day to Die and feel like a satisfying conclusion, but no, it comes out with golden walls of heaven to slap you in the face. And really, the entire rest of the album until For All Those Who Died is an intense slap to the face, providing a relative respite, only for DSE Ray to burst out of nowhere. The title track is a magnificently epic conclusion. Yeah, it's really just a masterpiece. Can't really claim a favorite, but of course, A Fine Day to Die, and this one riff from Holocaust just fucking rule. What was my most listened to album this past year? That's right, the Black Album by Metallica. Scarlet Evil Witching Black by Necromantia dominated my listening time. Crossing the Fiery Path is a classic too, but the former was just so interesting to me since the first time I heard it. The key component is undoubtedly the fact that instead of rhythm guitars, there are two basses, one of which being an 8 string. It makes the sound incredibly unique, seriously. There are lead guitars at some point, such as the abrupt beginning to Scarlet Witching Dreams. There is, of course, plenty of double bass drumming to satisfy my cravings, as well as some tasteful synth, choir, and atmospheric sounds utilized that give it a kind of arrogant but desperate feel. I love Greek black metal, maybe due to my pure Mediterranean blood feeling at home with it. But you really can't reduce this album to simply Greek style black metal. It kind of transcends a lot of labeling overall. So much so that there's a fucking saxophone solo. You heard me. You really just gotta hear it for yourself. I could understand it not really resonating with some people, but it's undoubtedly a fascinating album to listen to. And that's it. Thanks for partaking in my unorganized list of mainly black metal albums I like. And something something Happy New Year or Best Albums 2024 or something like that.
When they hit the track, I start to reach out, falling back as if it's a kid.